my friends, it's your old pal Jordan the Lion. How are you all doing today? I hope you said well. John and I are basically on the border of Missouri and Oklahoma, heading into Oklahoma today. And I realized we were going to be going through and passing by a really famous crime family gravesite. And one of the reasons, even though normally I don't do things like that, I wanted to do this one because I was good friends with Shelley Winters when she was alive for the last 3 years of her life. And she played one of these people in a movie called Bloody Mama. So we're gonna go visit the grave of Ma Barker, her sons, the Barker family. Daze with Jordan the Lion. It begins right now. He's just relaxed and he's not feeling too great today. He was waking up with the dry heaves today for some reason, but he seems to be okay. Hope you feel better today, Ja.
I promised you Oklahoma. I promised Ja Oklahoma also. And I have delivered. We have arrived. Well, at least to the state line. Home of Steve Owens, 1969 Heisman Trophy winner for the University of Oklahoma. Passing through his hometown. And if you're looking for the moon, it's back the way we came.
The gateway to Miami, Oklahoma.
Here's some murals to the history. We're just outside of the cemetery where they're buried. Wow, wonder what happened over here. I wonder what kind of car that used to be.
Same here. Check out all these classic old rusting cars.
Just in my short time driving through Oklahoma, I've seen a lot of casinos and a lot of marijuana dispensaries.
Okay, we have found it. Their cemetery is a half-mile down this road. You know that we're in the right place because it's called Williams Timber Hill.
Way out here in the middle of nowhere, really. Not somewhere that you would just stumble upon. And I believe this was a dead-end road, that sign said. That arrow says cemetery. This family lived a lot of places. They were kind of all over Minnesota, Illinois, Missouri, Oklahoma. But I believe Herman, the son Herman, was the first one buried here.
So here it is. It looks like the gates are closed, but they have a sign that says to make sure that they're closed. So I think you're just supposed to open it and you can go on in.
Yeah, they just have a chain that loops so you can open it up.
So what you want to do to find them is basically just take the path straight in that we came in from. And right when you get to where you're supposed to make a turn, there'll be a tree over here in the corner. This is them right here. Kind of surprised to see headstones because for a long time I had seen people comment that it was just the original funeral marker that are still on there, as you can see. So here's Herman. Son Herman Barker. And I believe he ended up dying by self-inflicted gunshot wound because he was going to be taken in after shooting a police officer in the mouth. This was not a good family. This was a very, very bad family from the very beginning. See, that one doesn't have a marking on it anymore. But I think this is where they start. Since that's Herman. Here's Ma, which was Kate Barker. Original name Arizona Clark. And then her son, Arthur Freddie, which was said to be her favorite. And George was the father. And it looks like one son, it looks like Lloyd is not buried out here. And I believe Lloyd was the one who, they were always all in prison. Whenever they weren't in prison, they were committing crimes. But I believe Lloyd was the one that got out of prison, got married, and then his wife stabbed him to death. So this crew, bad family from the very beginning. Ma Barker, Kate, apparently her childhood hero was Jesse James. When she was a little girl, she saw Jesse James and his gang of outlaws ride through her town. She idolized him ever since. But she also was very heartbroken at the age of 10 when, well, her age of 10 when he passed away. Now here's what's crazy about Ma Barker. She is completely shrouded in mystery because there's a theory that everything we know about her is fake. See, her sons were bad kids from the very beginning. And basically how this happened was that she was not a very good-looking woman, they say, and that she was also overweight, always struggled with her weight. But a local farmhand met her and was attracted to her, and that was George. George was an uneducated man and never was able to provide a very good living. The family always moved around and lived in a lot of poverty. So the boys were all troublemakers. They were always getting in trouble, had criminal records. I believe I think Herman was arrested at the age of 10 for highway robbery, like robbing someone as they were driving and stopped them and robbed them. And Ma Barker always believed her boys were they were her boys and they could do no wrong. And a lot of the history books say that she was very supportive of their bad behavior. And in fact would say, if the good people of this town don't like my boys, the good people of this town can take care of them. They can do what, they can take care of the problem. So her sons were in gangs by the time they were in junior high and just bad kids. They ended up perpetrating all kinds of, together, apparently. George wasn't involved because since he was such a bad earner, eventually Ma, the story is that she just kicked him out and said, you can't provide what we want. So they basically parted ways, and Ma would orchestrate most of what this group would do. They were known for originally robberies, like kind of petty robberies, but then they got into bank robberies and were pretty successful at that. And then at one point, the sheriffs came while they were robbing a bank and there was a shootout. There was an innocent victim killed. Two of the sheriff's department, I think a sheriff and his deputy, were both killed. And none of the Barker gang were, and they escaped. And so they were very successful at being awful. But they ended up realizing that they wanted more than just what you could get out of the bank. So they decided that they were going to start kidnapping. And they started with a wealthy brewer out of Minnesota. They kidnapped him, held him for a ransom, and they received their $100,000 ransom. And Ma Barker, she liked that. So she spent months planning a second kidnapping, except she wanted double the money. So she orchestrated kidnapping a banker. He took his daughter to school, and before he could get to the office, they had surrounded his car and kidnapped him, had him sign the ransom letter, and they sent it off. And after several attempts to collect the ransom, which were apparently botched, Herman wanted to go ahead and just kill the guy. He was tired of it and just wanted to kill him. That's how bloodthirsty these guys were, this family was. But Freddie told him, no, if we kill him, we'll never get any money. So they held strong and eventually got the $200,000 reward. Unfortunately for them, the man that they kidnapped, Mr. Bremer, was good personal friends with the president, and so the president decided that this was now something that was top priority. They were now public enemies, and he had J. Edgar Hoover going after them and really wanted them caught. And so what ended up happening was that Ma and Frederick were hiding out in Florida. I believe Herman was already passed at this point. He passed in 1927. This would have been 1935, and Arthur was apprehended in Chicago. Now, when they apprehended Arthur, he happened to have a map on him that basically told where the family members were hiding. And so they went and did a ambush, basically, on whoever would be in this house. So 5:30 in the morning, police officials show up at this house in Florida, and they know, they've done a little bit of investigation, they know that some of the Barker gang are in there, so they tell them to come out. And they wait and go back and forth, nobody's coming out, and then they hear Ma say something like, "Okay, here goes." So they thought, the police officials thought, okay, they're coming out, but no, the gunfire started, and a 4-hour gunfight ensued between the officials and Ma Barker and Frederick Barker. After 4 hours, and this is, apparently it was getting around because there were people coming from towns around to see this happen. They were going after them, shooting in bullets, tear gas, everything they could into this house to try and get Ma and Frederick to give themselves up. And then after a while, after 4 hours, they didn't hear anything. Everything got quiet. So they forced a local handyman to put a bulletproof vest on and go in and check and see if indeed the family was gone. And when he went in, Ma Barker had one shot to her body that killed her. Frederick was riddled with bullets. And the house was loaded with guns and ammunition. Now, after all this happened, their bodies were put on display, and then eventually they were brought out here to be buried. Now, here's what's crazy. I said that a lot of this is shrouded in mystery. There's so much out there that is unknown that they were part of, at one point, Ma Barker, when all the boys went to jail, Frederick met someone in jail, and when he came out with that guy, and they started a gang. And at that time, it was said by him, after the passing of Frederick and Ma, he said, the fact that people think that Ma Barker was the mastermind behind all of this is one of the biggest ruses in history. And he said that basically she had nothing to do with it. She was just a normal mom, and that she would travel with her sons, because then it made it look like just a mom traveling with her sons and it wouldn't draw any attention. But the history books have painted it much differently in many ways by saying that she was the mastermind behind all of this, and that she was one of the most evil people in history. Even J. Edgar Hoover would say she had an unlimited amount of resources and was, at the time, he believed the most dangerous person in the United States. But the man who was in the gang with Frederick Barker said, no, he's just saying that because he didn't want to take the heat for killing an old lady. So there's all kinds of mystery. And then there's also mystery that, that she was incestuous with her sons. My friend Shelley Winters played Ma Barker in the movie, and she used to tell me that. She said, well, that's, that's what they were, that she would every night want one of them to sleep with her after she left her husband George. But then there are also stories that say once she left George, she only liked women, and that she only liked the company of women, and that her sons only liked the company of men. So who knows? Who knows if Ma Barker was the mastermind to all of this? Who knows if, who knows what? But man, from basically 1933 to 1935, they were just on an absolute crime spree. So there's 3 of her 4 sons, her husband. They used to say Ma Barker was an incarnate of the devil, and that her sons were the children of the devil because they were so evil. They could kill someone, they could kill or rape women and have no remorse. Innocent people that didn't even know who they were, didn't know anything about what they had done, they would kill them. It's one of the few times that I probably will not say rest in peace. But there's the Barker gang. All right, and we'll leave it the way we found it, all closed up again. Well, my friends, we're going to call it a day. Thank you, Daryl Waldron, for becoming my newest Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.